Hello, hello, Instagram world and Facebook world, if you're all here. Gonna give everybody a couple minutes to hop on. Today we're going into a deeper dive into this theme of the week of stop fixing yourself and stop trying to heal yourself, because that's actually the very thing that is keeping you stuck. Welcome, welcome, KSI Digital Marketing. Great to have you here. Hello, hello. Great to have you. Thanks for joining. Just going to give a couple minutes here and fix my hair while we let others join in on this live, diving into why overhealing is actually keeping you stuck. Cool. Hello, welcome. Thanks y'all for joining. We're going to go into a deep dive here on why overhealing and why trying to fix yourself is actually the thing that's keeping you stuck. I'm excited to have y'all here, and you can also request in about 10 minutes to join, and we can do some live coaching as well for whoever is interested in maybe getting a little vulnerable and allowing me to support you. Cool. Well, we've got a few people here. I think I'm going to go ahead and start. Thank y'all so much for being here. It's my first time doing a actual scheduled live, so I'm excited to do this. One time I did an Instagram live totally by accident, and it was really fun. So I'm excited to do it now with a little bit more planning. So the theme of this week, if y'all have seen any of my content and videos, has been stop fixing yourself. And I think that a lot of us, if you're in like a healing communities, or, you're really into personal development, or you tend to be like a high achiever and a go-getter in the world, probably you've gotten into a pattern and addicted to overhealing. So, this also is perpetuated by a lot of social media and stuff out in the world that's just trying to sell you on the next course. It's like, hey, you're not enough. And so in order to be enough, you got to take this course, you got to come to this retreat, you got to do this medicine journey, and then you will finally feel like you're alive and awesome and good enough and like you can achieve your goals. And so it's just to bring awareness into that, people that are going to be trying to sell you stuff are often also going to speak to your pain points, that in order to get somewhere, you have to be a certain version of yourself, and that's just not true. And so, we have to be really mindful of this constant search for the next fix can actually be a form of self-rejection. Because if I'm always looking to fix myself, then I'm never really accepting myself for who I am now. If there's something always wrong with me, then there will always be something wrong with me. That's that never-ending cycle. And if you're saying, I'll love myself when I do this course, I do this retreat, once I let go of this trauma belief, once I, don't have PTSD anymore, once I forgive this one person, then that's really just saying who I am right now is not lovable. That's the message that subconsciously we're all telling ourselves when we say, I have to be somewhere else, or I have to be a different version of myself in order to love myself. So real healing happens when you stop all of that and actually learn to accept who you are now. Is actually understanding that who you are now is already amazing. What happens in the personal development space is that, we're sold this narrative of like looking at all the things that are wrong with us instead of celebrating all the things that are right with us. I'm going to say it again. We're sold this narrative of having to fix all the things that are bad or wrong, all these limiting beliefs, all these traumas, all these like toxic relationships, instead of focusing on what's going well about my life, what's awesome about who I already am. So, in order to get out of this like addictive pattern, I think it's really important to stop all of that and start seeing who you are is already brilliant and enough and totally lovable. Welcome to everyone here. So that's, a big part of the philosophy I teach is that like, there really aren't any flaws and you're not broken. You're simply human and there's actually nothing wrong with you. And there never was and there never will be. It's all about this concept I like to call the dose makes the poison, right? It's literally one of the first things I learned in medical school, day one, pharmacology class. The first thing the professor said was, giant slide, the dose makes the poison. And what I mean by that is that nothing is inherently wrong or poisonous. It's just how much of it is there. If you think about it, like if you drink gallons and gallons of water, it can literally kill you. Or you can just have 8 glasses of water a day and it's good for you, right? You can be in the sun and it's good for you, but you can have way too much sun and it burns you. Well, it's the same for any of our traits and who we are as people and our personality traits and our behaviors. They're not inherently bad. It's just maybe for whatever certain situation you're looking at, it can either be out of balance, there can be too much, or they can be too little. Let me explain. For example, like if you're a people pleaser, okay, and there's a lot of stuff on the internet going on right now about how like people pleasing is bad and you should not be that anymore. Well, fuck that, man. Like, fuck that. Being a people pleaser is amazing. Who doesn't love to be pleased? That's incredible. That's just like a beautiful trait. Like, oh, you want to make people happy? That's amazing. But where it gets out of balance, or maybe it becomes, poisonous, is when you people please so much that you abandon yourself, right? So people pleasing is not inherently bad. It's just, are you doing it so much? Did you drink gallons and gallons and gallons of water where it becomes toxic rather than helpful and supportive to your very soul? So it's really important to understand that there are no flaws about you. Even you could take this to the absolute extreme, okay? Even like killing people, right? Oh, killing people is bad. Well, what if you have someone in your group that is, maybe skilled at this, right? Skilled at killing people. And I know I'm going like totally off the rails here, but just follow me. And then suddenly there's like a wild animal that comes out and attacks, or maybe a person that just wants to come and kill everyone. Well, okay, maybe now that killing skill is actually really useful. Obviously that can get out of balance. Obviously we don't want anyone to die or be hurt, but all I'm saying is, these traits aren't inherently bad unless we decide for them to be so. The dose makes the poison, and it's really, really important to understand that. The other part about not needing to fix yourself is that healing doesn't mean that you're never going to get triggered, okay? Like being at peace doesn't mean that there's the absence of flaws, the absence of emotions, or the absence of like character defects. It actually means that you are just not bothered by them. Okay. It means the acceptance of them. It means the embracing of it. So if something is triggering you, well, that doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you're human. And if something is triggering you, can I have the wherewithal to step back, maybe take a breath and learn to respond instead of react, and then not add fuel to the fire by being upset about whatever made me upset. Does that make sense? It's like if someone says something to me and I take it really personally, and then I feel unworthy. And then I'm like adding fuel to the fire by being hard on myself for feeling unworthy. Like that just makes it all worse. Now I feel bad because I felt unworthy and because it hurt my feelings, and because then I'm not good enough, because I'm not healing properly, because I was triggered to begin with, and oh, I've worked on this so much, and so maybe I need to go back to therapy, and man, I shouldn't have felt so unworthy. I've been working on this. I know that I'm worthy. I'm so stupid because I'm unworthy. And then you just get into this vicious cycle of just like feeling bad about feeling bad, and then you feel bad about feeling bad about feeling bad, and that's not useful for anybody. Whereas if you just take a step back and it's like, oh, I felt unworthy, cool, great, on to the next thing. It doesn't have to control your life. It doesn't have to be in the fucking driver's seat. You can just be aware and then move on. The next thing I want to mention is about healing as avoidance. So, I hear this a lot, like, oh, I have to make a bunch of calls to some clients. But you know what? I'm really feeling like a lot of resistance around that. I think I need to do some inner work before I reach out to these clients. Danger zone. Okay. That is danger zone right there. That is total avoidance of what actually needs to get done. Once I feel better, then I'll go after the thing. And of course, that's can be the case sometimes, right? If there is such a massive resistance to doing a task or going after our goals, sure, maybe it does mean you have to take a step back. But for a lot of people, I'm seeing that this idea of like, I need to do more inner work is really just an avoidance pattern of doing the hard thing. Because it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Like, it's not meant to be easy. I fell into this trap myself with social media. I was like, oh, I really want to start getting on social media and I really want to start posting and all this stuff. I got to do more work. I got to do so much work until social media feels easy. Well, guess what? It's never going to feel easy. Nothing new that you do or nothing that's going to challenge you is ever going to be easy, because that's literally the point of it. It's meant to challenge you. And you don't go to the gym and lift like pencils, okay? When you're doing weights or when you're doing squats. No, you're picking up heavy things. It's painful, it's hard, and it's meant to be. And so this idea of like, oh, I have to do more inner work in order to go after my goals is like literally defeating the purpose. That's like saying, oh, I have to get stronger before I go to the gym. It's not how it works. You have to go to the gym to get stronger. You have to do the hard thing in order to make it feel easier. There's no other way often for a lot of the things that we want in our lives. And so careful not to use healing as a way to avoid the difficult things, because they're just meant to be difficult and it's okay for there to be resistance. In fact, that's how you get stronger. That's how you push through it, and that's how you are going to get to that next level, is through the pain. And for most things in life, there is no other way other than to just get through the pain. So if there's one area of your life where you're using healing to avoid actually living and actually going after the things in your life, drop in the comments. Let me know, like, what's the thing you're working through. You say, yep, trying to observe, not absorb. Feeling like you're going to fail. Yeah. So let me know, like, is there something that you're avoiding in your life and using healing as, as an excuse? Yeah. Okay. So this idea of like being tested, that's such an interesting concept, because I hear that too. It's like, oh, am I being tested? It's like, well, are you being tested or are you being prepared? Like, are you being tested or are you actually getting everything that you want? And the only way to get what you want is to do the reps and to do the hard things, right? It's like same with the gym. Like, the only way I'm going to get a super fit and toned body is by doing the reps and the hard things. And if I'm at the gym and it's hard, does that mean I'm being tested? No. Or does that mean I'm literally getting exactly what I want? My cardiovascular strength is increasing. My muscle mass is increasing. I need that extra blood flow to go to my muscles so that they can repair and regenerate and grow. So careful with this idea of like, I'm being tested. You're probably being given exactly what you need in order to make it to the next level. Yeah, work on starting life-changing projects and always hesitating. Yes, beautiful. So this is super common. This is such a human thing. I think we all, hesitate and procrastinate on the things that we most want. And then we can say that we need to do more healing or change something about ourselves in order to be able to go after it. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. Sometimes you just have to go after it. Having accountability, I think, is really supportive. Having friends that are going to support you along the way and encourage you, can make taking that step a lot easier. And then using forcing functions, I personally find are really amazing. So forcing functions is like kind of what I did with social media. Hey, everybody, I'm posting for 100 days no matter what. That's a forcing function, because now I've got all this social pressure to be a woman of my word and to actually put myself out there. So those are some tools I think that can be really useful. And the other thing is, I think that we tend to ruminate on the worst case scenario. What if I fail? What if I suck? What if I'm not good at this? Well, probably you won't be good at it, right? Probably you will fail until you don't, right? Like a baby falls multiple times before they learn to properly walk. That's just a given, right? So I think it's understanding that at first you're going to suck, and that's part of it, and that's okay, and that's brilliant, and that's beautiful. You're going to be loved and supported along the way. I think too, we make up the story that, oh, if I fail, if I don't do well, if I suck, if it's not perfect right away, then people will leave or not love me. And that's just not true. That is just not true. What do you think, like when you see someone putting themselves out there, you're like, dang, that's amazing. That's incredible. Especially your friends, you support them, you cheer them on. So the people that are really going to love you will stick around no matter what. And then the other thing is that we tend to ruminate on the negative and the worst case scenario, as opposed to thinking, what if this actually goes completely my way? What if this works out really well for me? What if I actually find my flow with this pretty fast? What if I become wildly successful at this? And so I think those are just two areas that we can look at when we're thinking about, how to actually take action towards our goals and not focus too much on the healing. Is think about like all the ways that it could work out. And then, use your community and your support network to lift you up along the way. I just want to also mention real quick too that your higher self isn't a future self. Like, you can't become your higher self by abandoning who you are right now. And every time that you're saying, I'll feel better when, that's actually emotionally exiling yourself. So healing is not about like becoming a different version of yourself. It's actually the exact opposite. It's about embracing yourself completely, who you are in the moment right now. And it's so counterintuitive, and it's kind of infuriating and frustrating. Trust me, I've been like doing this a long time. But yeah, you don't have to be anything more. It's about remembering and embracing who you already are in all your light and in all your darkness, because the darkness is not inherently bad. It's just different. It's just dark. Going back to what I said earlier, that the dose makes the poison. There's nothing wrong with the darkness. There's nothing wrong with what we call flaws or imperfections. They're maybe just out of balance, or they're not being used in the correct spaces. And that's just human. So, so it's just the fear that some social media, like if you're putting out social media, if you don't succeed in your journey, you're going to fail and lose your destiny. So that's like catastrophic thinking, right? And I love this because we can just bring like gentle awareness into that. Is what does it mean to not succeed? And like, at what point do you say you don't succeed? Do you try something for 2 days and then say, oh, it didn't work? Do you try something for 30 days and go, oh, it didn't work? Or do you try something for years and years and years? There's like no way it can't work. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I think expect not to succeed right away. And actually that's how you start to win and become successful in your life, is knowing that we're playing the long game here. Things take a long time to really take off. Like, that's just the nature of it. That's just the nature of it. And thanks for sharing that. I hope that's supportive and helpful. So you want to remember who you are and reconnect to who you already are. So a really good way to do this is to look at someone that you admire. And I know that we are all mirrors for one another. So often we're looking at our negative sides of ourselves, like, oh, I'm just not organized enough. I procrastinate. I, can never get anything done. But we fail to recognize our genius and our brilliance in just our everyday existing, right? Like our actual mastery over a lot of ourselves and our lives that have become so second nature we don't even think about it. Okay, and this is going to sound really intense or whatever, but even imagine eating with a fork, for example. You mastered eating with a fork, but think of how you were as a baby. You're getting it all over your face and it doesn't make sense. None of that made any sense until you did it for years and years and years, because it takes years to master a skill. And then now you eat with a fork, and you could be, on a roller coaster, literally on a physical roller coaster, trying to put something in your mouth, and you would not miss. You would not miss. That is your level of mastery when it comes to using a fork. And that came through a lifetime of practicing that skill. And probably by the time you were, 6 years old, you had it down. And so when we go into the things that we want in our lives, I think it's really important to remember that we're already awesome. There's already so many things and so many gifts that you have that are really exceptional and extraordinary. One of the most basics is eating with a fork, right? But there's a lot of gifts that you have that probably you don't even think about, that come really easily to you, that for other people, they're like, dang, I wish that I could just blank, 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 effortlessly do whatever it is that you do. But back to what I was saying about admiring people. So if you look to someone that you admire, because we're all mirrors, if you list out the qualities that you really admire in that person, that's actually who you are. Okay. And it's wild how this works, but it's just all the things that you haven't yet accepted within yourself, all the light that you haven't accepted within yourself. So if you look to, even someone in your circle of friends, or even someone that you don't know that you like on social media or whatever, list out those qualities. Oh, I love that they're just so articulate. I love that they're just so authentic. I love that they're just so special and unique. That's you. That's you. And you haven't yet embraced that's who you already are. And it is the case. If you do this exercise in a room of people and you have everybody start reading out loud what they admire about someone else, we're all looking at the person reading that's exactly you. It is literally exactly you. You're just reading who you are from that piece of paper, sharing about what you admire about something else, but it's really who you are. So, that's another fun tool that you can use to really know your light and your brilliance and who you are. And I would just love, for the two of you here right now, if you could just put a hand on your heart and just acknowledge the version of you that's here today. Just say I love you as I am. I love myself as I am. I am enough as I am. And I love myself as I am. And who I am is awesome and brilliant. I have gifts to share with the world. And I'm worthy because I exist. So, the last thing I want to talk about is that you were never broken. So the 3 positives are me, and the 3 negatives are no longer me and the energy I want to align with. Let's see. Yeah, I love that. Exactly that. So list 3 positives about someone you admire or yourself, and then 3 negatives. It's energy you don't have to align with anymore. You don't have to align with it, and you also don't have to see it as negative or bad, right? Because everything is useful. The dose makes the poison. And if you want 0 of it, then don't align with that anymore, and you don't have to be that anymore, and you can literally choose out of that. So I just want to reiterate that, when you're showing up every day and you're participating in this really complex human life that's difficult and challenging, like you're already transforming. Like that's a transformation. And there's really nothing wrong with you. Everyone is figuring it out. Nobody really knows what they're doing. We're all growing and we're all learning and we're all evolving together. I mean, think about how we treated each other 150 years ago or 200, 300 years ago. It's all naturally evolving just from our own evolution and awareness and love and kindness for one another. And so, you just being you and showing up every day is enough. And, sometimes taking a break from healing is the healing, where you don't have to focus on all the things that are wrong with you or wrong, but instead just like live your life. Live your life, enjoy yourself, have fun, get some fresh air, go on a hike, do the things that you love and enjoy. And taking that breath for yourself can be so powerful. You don't need to chase transformation, because the more that you grab and attach yourself to something, the more that you chokehold it, right? And that you're actually constricting its possibility to flourish. It's like if you have, I'm seeing this image of this like flower growing out of the ground and you're just like pouring water over it constantly. Like that's not good for it. Or you're just like squeezing this flower, like bloom, 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 transform, transform. Like sometimes we just gotta let it go and it will naturally happen. Put it in good soil, give it a little bit of water, let it have some sunlight, and it will grow and it will bloom. And then just letting you know that, you're not behind. You're right on time. There's nothing more important in the world than this moment right here, right now. And nothing more important than your light. And that's who you are. You are a light. You're not behind. You're perfect as you are. And you're also imperfect. Both can coexist at the same time. And it's not about being one or the other. It's just embracing yourself in the moment now. So yeah, grounding, walking, journaling helps. All of that stuff is super good. Do the things that make you feel good rather than thinking that you have to be someone else. I think that's really important when it comes to healing. So yeah, if anyone wants to jump on the live and unpack something that they're over fixing in their life, I can definitely take someone. We can, do a quick energy work, or, I could do an energy read, or you can just share what's on your heart. Happy to do that if anyone wants to hop on. And if not, that's cool too. Okay, amazing. Well, thank y'all so much for joining this first live that I'm doing. It's been really fun. I hope this was useful and, just gave some awareness into your lives, and, just remember that you're not broken. You're right on time. You're enough. And I'm grateful for you all being here. All right. Thank y'all so much. I love y'all, and have a beautiful rest of the day. Hi, Danielle. And I'm finishing up, but I love you. Thanks for joining. I will talk to you guys next week for my next live. And next week, we're actually going into fuck your feelings. All right. How people can tend to overfeel and, again, forget to live their lives. So join next week at 11 a.m. Remember that you're awesome and perfect, and I believe in you, and I'm cheering for you all the way. Thanks. Bye.